Hello, hello, hello. Happy day, people. This is Tea and Cornbread, a conversation with Sean and Tracy. I am Sean Johnson.
I am Tracy Davis-Johnson.
And our podcast is about having conversations with people 50 and over, where they're talking about their wealth, their health, and their life changes. So like, share, and subscribe. Hey, y'all.
Happy day, people.
It is Tea and Cornbread with Sean and Tracy. How are you? Hey, Trey.
Hey, Sean.
So we're going to start off with doing our breathing.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, my goodness gracious. We are inhaling our intent for this episode. And exhaling all that doesn't serve us. It also calms our nerves.
Yeah, we get nervous at times.
Yes, we get nervous. We get in the hang of it, but still, we get nervous.
Baby steps, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, Tracy, how was your weekend?
My weekend was awesome.
Okay,
What did you do? What did I do? Let's see. I ran around yesterday. Just enjoyed me yesterday. I really did. I did some stuff for Tracy.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yesterday that's what I did. I got up, I went and worked out. Y'all know that's my happy place.
Mm-hmm.
I went and worked out, then I did some running around to the stores, went and treated myself out to eat.
All right.
And chilled out for the rest of the day. How about you?
Yesterday was awesome. I was invited and had the pleasure and honor of being one of the docs for Walk with Docs with Bridge to Success. Girl Track is they walk every Saturday at Fulton Park. Girl Track and Black Women United.
Okay.
And it was about self-care.
Nice.
So it was awesome.
Back to self. We have to remember that.
Yes. And so for you to start off and say it was about me yesterday.
Yes. You know
right?
what? We have to make it about us.
Absolutely. So that was amazing. The women are amazing. They're powerful. What I really loved about it is the young people in the room. Mm-hmm. There were so many young people in the room that were part of the event, like the back part, behind the scenes, putting it together and all.
Oh, okay.
They were, amazing.
Hands-on.
Right? Yes, hands-on, amazing. And I was like, this is great to see this generation, be in the room and being part of and had a place.
Was there a certain age group or was it just, okay.
Mm-mm. It was open to everybody, but the premise of it was Black women, and walking and taking care of themselves,
Nice.
and how.
Nice.
So they had a program. I don't remember how long it went. I want to say at least 6 months. I'm not sure, but it was called Walk with Docs. And they always had it was once a month, and they have a speaker, that's in the wellness, in either a doctor or a wellness person or
something
fitness
like
person,
you said, something
like that
pertaining to self-care.
Yes, something pertaining to self-care and wellness and health, mental health, physical health.
I love it. Starting early.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I say I started late. So starting them off early with the self-help, paying attention to their, emotions, what they're going through for the day.
Yes.
Keeping healthy. Most important.
Exactly.
So
and,
that's nice.
Educating. I did a post saying, thank you for creating your platform. Thank you guys for creating your platform to educate, encourage, and guide people on living a healthy life.
Right.
And because we are sick, and black women are basically endangered species. That's just my opinion. But the CDC really says black women are in a state of emergency. Right.
But that's why it's important. What happened yesterday was important. And like I said, starting early, I said that I started late, but I think I've started and stopped. But
everybody does. And it doesn't matter where you are, just start.
Just start.
You know.
I tell people that all the time. Like, people say, come on and work out. They'll say, I'm going to start Monday or I'll start on the 1st. Right. One thing I've learned is you don't have to wait for that Monday. No. Don't wait for the 1st of the month. Go ahead and do it if you're going to do it.
Just do it.
But I don't pressure you.
one day at a time.
One day at a time. Little changes.
1 hour and 1 minute at a time.
Yes.
And like I said to them yesterday when I started, I said, I hope you take whatever I'm saying today, whatever resonated with them, take one thing and start it and add it to, because they were all there from to walk, and they go on a regular basis. So they already started that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But we can always do better as far as, okay, now what? What's the next thing
next step
that we can do to bring about a healthier life?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It is.
But guess what?
50 years of hip hop. I know what you're about to say.
Yes, it is 50 years of hip hop.
I ain't 50, so tell me about it.
It is 50 years of hip hop.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm joking. I'm 50. It's okay, though, because I love my life.
Exactly. We are over 50. I think we grew up in the best part of, I think we grew up in the best
time.
Yeah.
All the exposure we had, the different things we've learned and seen and are able to pass on to our...
We are the hip-hop generation.
We are.
We are the hip-hop generation.
We definitely are.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so where were you? Like, what is
50
your first...
years ago?
Right.
Where was I?
Where, not where were you, but what is your first... thought when it comes to hip hop? Like, what do you love about hip hop? And when do you remember, getting started with it?
I know we're talking about hip hop, but I think it's music itself.
Okay.
But then you get into the hip hop, you get into the rap, you get into different genres of, even doing your reading and you're looking at all the documentaries, the break dancing, the beatboxing, and all that different stuff. Yeah. But you got to kind of go back, to where it originated. We say 50 years of when it was recognized, when it was put on the map, when they started saying hip hop. Yeah. But when I was doing some reading and going through some different articles, I think it was 1925 or so. It was introduced. And don't quote me on this because I'm reading. I think it was 1925. Bear with me, people. Yes, 1925. Earl Tucker, also known as Snake Hips. I don't know.
Snake Hips?
I don't know who that is, but I guess he incorporates floats and slides and dancing. So that's kind of where break dancing got introduced. That's how far back.
Wow.
So our history goes back further than we know, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
It's just hip hop was the word
recognized,
recognized,
or created as a genre at that time.
Definitely.
Okay.
So 50 years ago, I was a little girl. So but we've always been introduced to music and this was just a different type of music. You know what I mean?
Right.
I do remember it being a struggle. Like honestly, not when I was 7, but as we got older into the 70s, the 80s, and the different genres of music, people doing their music, what they were saying on their, it was not so widely accepted. It was controversial because of some of the things people were saying.
You mean the issues we're still dealing with today?
That too.
Because because they were telling the story through music
people didn't want to hear, that people didn't understand.
The issues that we were dealing with as a people. They were telling through music.
Yes.
And I think they always did.
Yes. Oh, no, definitely. Music always has a story. But this was a different type of music. You know what I mean? It wasn't a slow jam. It wasn't you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't a rock song, a headbanger. So this was a different genre of music that the world got introduced to that people did not want us to share.
Right.
But guess what? We still here.
We still here.
We still here.
Oh, my goodness. So our producer, Kyle Barboza, big ups to Kyle. He is a history buff. And when you talk to Kyle about different things, some of the things that he blows my mind with, I go, how do you know that, right? But he's a hip-hop head. Now, his dad, DJ since we were 13, 14 years old, roller skating. You know what I mean? Roller Magic still around today, right? I don't know how old Roller Magic is, but it's over 35 years old.
It's old.
Right. But, I remember hip hop from Roller Magic. I mean, roller skating comes to me, right? Even though my mom, and like you said, with music, they played it all the time. My mom was a dancer. When they had Connecticut Bandstand. She won. You know, she was, I forget who her partner was, and I was trying to look for footage from that years ago. But, you know, she always had music going in the house, and we always danced, and we always did, you know, all of that. But one day I remembered being in the car with my grandfather. He was a New Yorker, right? And he was a gypsy cab driver. Yeah, he was a gypsy cab driver. And I'll never forget it. You know, Jason and Tiny was talking about Tiny and Jason and my brothers. And my brother was a DJ too, right?
And they still is.
Right. No. Not my younger brother. Yes, I'm talking about my other older brother at that time. And so he was talking about, you know, hip hop to my grandfather. And he was like, you know, rap and this, that, and other. And my grandfather said, that ain't new. That ain't new.
Right.
And then he went into a rap, right? And I don't remember what he said, but he went into a rap. And he said, we've been doing that forever. He said, ain't nothing new, right? I laughed, but I remember that came back to me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That came back to me.
Well, that's funny that he says that, because did you know?
Right.
Muhammad Ali, they say, was one of the first rappers, not musically rapper, but you remember, and I do remember him. He always said a little rhyme. So I guess back in 1965, when he went to fight Sonny Liston, he made a little rap rhyme about that.
Or poem or whatever they want to call it.
So it kind of goes back.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back, how it's all tied in, how our history is all tied in.
Right.
From the breakdancing, we're thinking it originated this way.
Right.
But really, it was out there. It just wasn't recognized.
Right.
Or they taken a part of it and we just keep bringing it into the future. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So.
And there's different documentaries for all of you that are interested in learning more. Netflix has a bunch of documentaries on there. And they were talking about the originality of the word hip hop. And it would be nice if I remembered.
It's okay. Like I'm
What's
not going to lie.
What's the original word?
And then I don't know if it says it up here, but there's a lot of there's a lot of history, and I don't know if I can get to that right here. But it's okay that
That's all right. We got time.
It just says it doesn't say why. It just says 1970 hip hop first appears in the Bronx.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just trying to read really quick why I'm reading it, but it doesn't really say how the word evolved, or it probably does, and I'm just not finding it because
we got time. We got time.
One thing that I thought interesting too, like there's a lot of, staples here, but in 1965, Salt and Pepper enters the scene as one of the first female group rappers. 1985, excuse me, 1985.
Hold on, they weren't even born in
1985.
Okay.
So, which is pretty interesting, because I think even then, when we seen them and loved them, we didn't understand how groundbreaking that was.
Right. There was. When you watch the documentary, you all watch Ladies First, a story of women in hip hop. Yeah. I binge watched it. Yeah. And it's the behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like
the stuff we didn't know.
So much stuff that we didn't know as women. They went through, just like when women talk about going up the corporate ladder, what they have to deal with, say the word for me. Misogynistic.
You said
Am I saying it?
I'm not
right?
going to try.
Okay.
I'm not going to try to say it better.
Right. But the things that they went through just to be there, right?
Right.
That was wild. Yeah. It was wild.
No,
because,
it was.
As women, we deal with so much, and we see the glitz and glamour of it.
You see the other side of
right?
it, exactly.
But it wasn't glitz and glamour.
And it's so funny because it wasn't only them. The only group. Female groups that kind of went through that, unfortunately.
But one thing I didn't notice until they said it, you know how they say first lady of the Rough Riders, or first lady of,
whatever
groups. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That was a thing.
Right.
That was a thing. So for them to, like you said, it was groundbreaking for them to be the first female group, right?
Yes, definitely.
There were so many, and I was like, wow. But going back to us, growing up, man, let me tell you, shout out to my sister-in-law, because she was in New York. She went to school in New York, so she was in the trenches of hip hop at the time, right? And so I was always following her everywhere she went. So I was just like, yep, I'm going. You going to the club? Yep, I'm going. Going to the club.
Meeting different people, being exposed to different
absolutely.
types of music.
I got pictures. Let me tell you, I have this thing. that there's two guys that was supposed to be my baby's daddy.
Oh,
you knew I was gonna say it.
Listen, I was gonna say it, but then I said, well, maybe that's not appropriate. No. So go right ahead.
Yes, Big Daddy Kane was supposed to be my daughter's daddy, and CL Smooth was supposed to be my son's daddy. And let me tell you, man, those were my two favorites still today. My two favorites.
They are still her favorites.
I mean, I am consistent. I've been saying this for years. And last year, their father, and we'll talk about the Gladiators that's bringing old school, that does old school hip hop during the Labor Day weekend here in Waterbury. And they brought CL Smooth last year.
Sean was in the house. Oh, you don't have that picture. You took a picture with him too.
Goodness. Okay. That's all. That's it. That's it. We could drop it from right now, right? Yeah. I talked big trash and punked out when the time came. But it's okay. I still got a hug.
You got a picture too with him.
I got a picture. I got a hug. Everything, right? Yeah. But it goes back to High Pockets.
Oh,
yeah. The first time I ever saw him.
Think about how small that place was.
Was High Pockets on North Main Street. And they brought Pete Rock and CL Smooth. I didn't know who was what, right? And they had the teenage side and they had the adult side, the bar side. And so I brought my little cousin. My little cousin wanted to go there. Nylena, my cousin Nylena, shout out to her, right? She wanted to go. And so I took her. And we're on the dance floor. She's not there because they had the teenage side separate. So we're on the dance floor and everything. And I was looking and I was like, they ain't from here. Who is that? Who is that? And so when they got up on the stage, I've been in love ever since. Look, and my husband, my kid's father, knew that. He knew. Yeah,
it's okay though.
I've been in love ever since,
okay.
Right? And so it was funny when he was coming, and I was like, "What? What you mean?" Right?
You're like, "I am there."
Exactly. So yeah, so that's hip hop goes.
It does. It's a lot of history. Like Sean said, there's a lot of documentaries out there. Go do some research.
Yeah.
A lot of songs that you listen to, a lot of words that you hear are repeated from the past.
Yeah. Big time. But they all told a story, just like, the R&B groups back in the day or like Marvin Gaye and things like, and James Brown, all of them,
Marvin Gaye.
Right? Another one. And that was my first crush. When he
being we were teenagers, so we had no business, but it was music, and we knew we'd never be seeing them or touching them, but it was like, that was a man.
Right, absolutely. But the crazy part is when you listen to the lyrics of songs, as you get older, you start listening to the lyrics. We sing and not listen to the lyrics. We can even know every word beat, and not pay attention to what you're
little
saying.
Hooks of a song.
Right.
But then when you really stop and listen,
exactly,
you'd be like, wow, that's what they were saying?
Exactly.
Oh, wow, that's what that meant when you take time and pay attention.
Yeah, because it was about something going on. And a lot of it was about issues happening in the world. And specifically issues against,
people of color.
People of color, exactly. Black people. And so the when you listen to hip hop, same thing. You know what I mean?
They're telling their story.
Right. Queen Latifah, the reason why she called herself Queen Latifah, she said because we were kings and queens, right? And she was talking, and I'm paraphrasing, so you got to watch the documentary. But when she talked about it, she was like, I was just talking about empowering us as ladies. She not just what she says. I wanted to talk about empowering us as women. You know what I mean? And she was a teenager too.
She was.
So how did she? You know what I mean? Being conscious about that so young. And this is why this podcast.
But
was
I think that
too
comes from your family, comes from talking to your parents, talking to your grandparents to know your value. You said it happened at a young age. My brother constantly says that. Right. We were always the kings and the queens.
Absolutely.
It was taken from us at the end of the day.
Right.
I remember my grandmother always saying, when you address a envelope, and I never forget this, to a man, you always write Mr. And not knowing any better, I'm sending something to a cousin that's my age. Why am I putting Mr.? She said, you always do, because you want to remind him that he is the man. Like, he is the king at the end of the day, and it doesn't matter his age.
Wow.
So he's always Mr. But if you know, that's how we always address men anyway as Mr. You know,
Mr. or Mrs.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah, we say miss to women.
Or
right.
Right. But men always Mr. And I still do that to this day, regardless of who I'm sending something to. You address that man. You know, make him feel validated, as we do women. I'm not just saying, you know, I was just saying because you said about Queen Latifah and women that, you know, validating women as queens, also validate our men as kings, because they are.
Yeah, and that's fine, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about
women. We're talking about 50 years of hip hop.
Right. We're talking about 50 years of hip hop, yeah. But not to invalidate that, you know what I mean? Because, yes, we have to lift our kings up also. Right. Absolutely, right? But it was just watching that documentary. It's like the theme that's happening right now. Like, the purpose of this podcast is to encourage. Yes, we'll have men on here, but it's really to encourage women to understand that you're never too old to do anything, right? That's why it's called that, right? Yeah. But then Tea and Cornbread, these conversations are everyday conversations.
Right.
You know, we call it shop talk, right? Everyday conversations. And what I'm noticing, the theme, and even in yesterday's event that I was a part of, and what those women are doing as organizations, is making sure the state of Black women does not go unnoticed,
right?
And that we are taking care of ourselves and taking care of each other. You know what I mean? And so when you're watching this documentary about, you know, ladies of hip hop, it's the same theme. What did I write? I wrote something here. Hold on.
No, I don't know. I can't.
I know. And it talks about sisterhood, talks about the politics, and you know, we talk about sisterhood and empowering each other. And we as women, period, right? Black women, white women, indifferent, it doesn't matter. We as women have to keep each other empowered. You know, have to keep empowering and lifting each other up, because we are not accepted, I'll say, for lack of a better phrase. We have to stand our ground. You know what I mean? And not in a negative way, just in general, just knowing that, you know, we're in the room, we're not invisible. That's what I mean by that. We're not invisible.
Well, I think we always been fighting, and like you said, we just have to keep fighting that fight. It's the same fight, it's just a different time.
Right. But the word fight, my whole thing is, it is a fight. But my whole thing is, when we say fight, it's like...
You thinking physical?
No, I'm thinking we always have to be on guard. It's bad enough we're always up here. Like, we're always stressed out or having to do or having to be or whatever that is. I want us to be able to stand in our power without having to fight. And even though we are, but if we think about it in a positive way, we're standing in our power. We have power, and the power doesn't have to be negative. The power just means I know who I am. You can't take that away from me. You can't, you can't disregard me. You know what I'm saying? Or us as women. I won't say just me. I'm just saying us as women. You can't disregard us. First off, you wouldn't be here without us.
Right.
You really would not. Literally, think about this. Back going to only women can give birth. Drop the mic. Drop the mic on that. Only women can give birth.
Let's go back to the word fight, because when you say fight, you think negative, but I don't think of it as a negative. When I say fight, it just means that, just what you said, I'm standing in my purpose. I'm in the room, and I'm going to make you pay attention. I don't have to do it in a negative. I could be professional as I want to be, because I fought for something. You know, I'm fighting for you to hear me. I'm fighting for you to put me in charge of something, or I'm going to be in charge of something.
I was about to say,
because I don't need you to put me.
You are in charge.
Yeah, I don't need you to put me in charge, but listen to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just as important as you are.
Exactly.
That's what I mean by fight.
Right.
Not fight.
And that's what I mean by
negative,
standing in, and that's what I mean by standing in your power.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
With your power, and everybody, and just teaching little girls. You know what I'm saying?
How important it is.
How important it is.
Yes.
And this is for women. This is not just for Black women. This is for women, right? And
speak up.
Right. But the thing is, I am a Black woman.
Right.
So when I'm talking,
we're raising Black women.
Right. Absolutely. And I know we got off the subject because this has nothing to do with hip hop.
I know because we did, but
right.
it's okay because this is what we do.
The reason why I went there is because after watching that documentary, it just goes to show how,
the struggles,
this is
the
important
fight.
for us to have these conversations, keep these conversations going. And each one teach one, each one bring the other up. Yes. It was so powerful to be in the room yesterday and seeing that. And I just kept saying, I said it to two of the young ladies. I said, I'm so proud of you guys. I'm just proud. I don't know them from Adam.
Right.
I don't know them at all. I'm that old person in the room now. Where before I used to know everybody's kids. I don't know any of them. But it was just lovely to see.
It made you feel good.
Yeah.
Because I think we get such a negative.
And there were some boys in there, There were some young men in there. There were some young men. There was a guy that came in towards the middle of it. And while I was speaking, and he says, this is cool. He said, this is awesome. Right. And, and I was like, he says, I just came in because I wanted to know what was going on. Okay. He said, I didn't know that this was going on. You know what I mean? So it was great. So it was empowering to everyone in the room.
So it was open to the public? And so was it a good crowd or?
Yes. Yes. Me, the way I think is if one person shows up, it's a good crowd. Because that means that one person is going to get whatever. But no, it was a great crowd. There was over 20 people there.
Nice.
There were over 20 people there. And so that was awesome. There were a young lady that was doing massages. Oh man, I'm sorry, I don't remember. Enchanted Hands, I think it's called. I think her business is called Enchanted Hands.
Where is she out of?
She's in Waterbury.
Oh, see?
She's in Waterbury,
okay.
And she has. I'm sorry, I'm
that's
not
okay.
giving the right information.
That's enough,
but I will, and I'll put it in the description. And I'm going to interview her for Back to Earth. Okay. Because she does therapeutic massage and stuff, so she was there, and there was a catering company that did the food and everything like that. So it was good. We're going off on the tangent now.
Really, because we were talking about 50 years of hip hop.
Yeah. So let's go back to 50 years of hip hop. So but okay, so give us one thing that sticks with you about hip hop that you incorporate in your life today, and then I'll say mine, and then we'll wrap this up.
One thing about hip hop that I incorporate in my life today, I don't know. I love music, so I love listening to our current rap, where people my age may or may not. Okay. Going back to when we were listening to Sugar Hill. And I run DMC, and I blast my music. So right now, I love music.
Okay.
And I do love all
types.
I do.
Okay. So when I'm driving, you've experienced me driving with my music.
Right.
Chubb Rock. I have that's my hype song, right? Treat 'em right.
Going and coming. We listen.
My goodness. When I have to do anything that I'm real nervous about, I'll put that on. That's your
theme music.
Yeah, I put that on. That's my hype.
Remember
my hype
we
music.
Listened to what was that DJ we listened to going down, and he played all those
DJ
different.
Cassidy.
Just listening to DJ Cassidy too, and he's bringing all those different, different
Volume 3
stuff you forgot about, but you could still sing to it.
Yeah,
we may not have known every little word, but when those music came on in the car, it was like, we need him too.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes. So, yes. Okay, so 50 years of hip hop. We're gonna sprinkle this in, I guess, in a couple of episodes.
We're gonna start doing Did You Know?
Yeah, did you know? Did you know? Because we're learning so many things about hip hop. I didn't know, or about music all the way around. But put on your favorite hip hop song. Put on your favorite song today and dance to it. Right?
I know.
And
whatever
when we talk about wellness and everything, and people go, oh, I don't like exercise, I don't like the gym or whatever. Put your favorite song on and just dance. Put it on repeat. Make a playlist for it and just dance. That's your exercise right there.
But
So we got to wrap this up.
We do.
We got to wrap this up. This was a fun conversation.
It really was.
Even though we were all over the place.
I was getting ready to say the same thing. We started off with 50 years of hip hop. We touched on it a little bit. We went into women empowerment, which we always are about.
Yes, absolutely.
But yes, it was a great. I hear a lot of events went on over the weekend too. So do, like Sean said, just do your history too when you're listening to your music and you hear that beat. I love listening to music and beats that were music we listen to and the kids think, oh, that's new.
Right.
I be saying that's not new.
Not at all.
They're like, yes, it is. Such and such just made that. I said, no, they made that over somebody else's music, which is not bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but do your history about that too.
Yeah. So we're going to sprinkle this in.
Yes.
We're going to sprinkle this in because there's a lot.
This was fun.
There's a lot to know. And this was fun. So, so listen, check us out every week.
Yes.
On Sky Cable. On Sky Take Cable, and the full episode will be on our YouTube channel.